Hello and welcome back to An Old Man Watches, where today I'm going to be talking about the 1947 thriller Dark Passage, featuring the iconic cinematic duo of Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. In this movie, Bogart plays prison escapee Vincent Parry, who, due to evidence given by a former girlfriend named Madge, was falsely convicted of killing his wife. Parry hopes, having escaped, to evade capture long enough to find evidence that will exonerate him of the crime he did not commit. Bacall, meanwhile, plays Irene Jansen, an artist who recognises Parry and, believing in his innocence, helps him to avoid recapture as he conducts his investigation. Complicating her efforts is the fact that Madge is a friend of hers and frequently comes to the very apartment in which Irene is trying to hide Parry. Now, of course, romantic sparks naturally begin to flare between Parry and Irene, but can there be any future for them with all the hurdles in their way? So, few pairings in cinema are more famed than Bogart and Bacall, and there's good reason for that. Even though they only actually had four real co-starring roles, they had tremendous chemistry on screen, and presumably off-screen as well, given their real-life marriage. Cinematically, first came To Have and To Have Not, which launched both Bacall's career and their off-screen relationship. The other three films were then the noir classics The Big Sleep and Key Largo, and this movie. Now, to my mind, Dark Passage is easily the weakest offering of the four. Now, this is no real fault of either Bogart or Bacall, mind you. Both do decent work with the frankly weak material on offer, though I would say that Bacall shines more than Bogart. Here it's the script that really fails to make the grade. But before I talk about its missteps, let's discuss the film's best remembered element, which is that much of the first act of the movie is shot in subjective camera. That is, as if the camera was Parry's eyes, showing his perspective of events. We are a passenger behind his eyes, if you like. In the very few scenes that aren't shot that way, we still can't see Parry's face in the shot. Now, one of the most notable consequences of this approach is that it allows Bacall to do the usually verboten thing of talking directly to the camera, since the camera is a stand-in for Parry, which creates a sense of immediacy that is quite effective. So yeah, all this makes for a memorable and stylish opening. But let's not forget that it's a decision that is actually forced by technical production restrictions rather than some purely artistic choice. You see, the film has Parry undergo cosmetic surgery at around the halfway point. As soon as that occurs, we start seeing Bogart on screen, and the film is shot just like any other movie. In other words, the only reason for the memorable style of the opening act is they didn't want to go to the trouble and expense of having Bogart in prosthetic makeup for the first 40 minutes. And, I get not wanting to do that. You're going to save a lot of time and money doing it this way. But it does make the visually distinctive style of the film a little bit less impressive because at the end of the day, it's just a way to save money. Now, I've seen people comment that this film loses steam after the switch to a more standard filming perspective. And I honestly feel like that's a case just of the surface level innovation of the camera work, obscuring that the script has no real puff even from the outset. And the film's biggest narrative flaw is its massive reliance on coincidence. Irene's motive for believing in Parry's innocence, that her father was also falsely convicted of a crime he did not commit. The reason for her being in just the right place at just the right time to assist Parry? Well, she just had a feeling that morning that she should go and paint near the prison. Very convenient. Oh, and of course, there's also the coincidence that Irene is friends with Madge, who holds the key to the whole case, and the coincidence that when Parry first leaves Irene's apartment, he immediately stumbles across a cab driver who not only also doesn't want to turn him in, but knows a plastic surgeon who can give the fugitive a cut-price black market face job. The film isn't by any means done with its improbably convenient coincidences, mind you, but I think I've given plenty of examples of the rather weak story crafting at play here. It's very much a case of, what's an easy way to move the plot forward in the way I want to? Oh, that'll do. It's all lowest possible effort kind of stuff, in my opinion. And the second narrative flaw of the film is Vincent Parry himself. Now, Bogart's performance in the role is a smidgen subdued, and I wonder if that's because he's noticed that as protagonists go, Parry is neither effective or capable. His plan to escape prison and prove his innocence is a pretty ambitious one, and successfully completing it would require a degree of cunning that he singularly fails to exhibit. In fact, Parry's efforts to get to the truth pretty consistently backfire, often due to his own thoughtless actions. For instance, when he finds the murdered body of an old friend of his, he promptly picks up the dead man's treasured trumpet, putting his fingers all over the apparent murder weapon. Now, I accept that it would be traumatic to find a friend of yours has been killed, but this won't be the only time that Parry's efforts to prove his innocence will directly contribute to him becoming the prime suspect in more crimes. Everything he does seems to actually make the situation worse. We all like to see sympathetic characters get a happy ending, and Parry is sympathetic, but I think we would also prefer it that our sympathetic characters do something to deserve that happiness. Ultimately, to me, Dark Passage proves a bit of a disappointment overall. So, next time, the Flash Gordon film Purple Death from Outer Space, which is very misleadingly credited as a 1966 release. We'll talk about that more next time. But that is next time. Until then, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you've seen today's movie, let me know what you thought of it. And I'm sure there's somebody who's going to tell me that I'm wrong and that, Dark Passage is a noir classic. But, we'll have to agree to disagree. Thanks again for watching.